The phone call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was elbow-deep in flour, testing recipes for the bakery's new seasonal menu. Seeing my brother Aaron's name on the screen, I smiled and answered with my shoulder, hands too messy to touch the phone properly. "Hey, stranger. How's the wedding planning going?" Silence. Then Aaron's voice, tight and uncomfortable. "Lily, we need to talk about the wedding." I stopped kneading the dough, something cold settling in my stomach. "Is everything okay? Did something happen to the venue?" No, nothing like that." He cleared his throat. "It's about the guest list. Veronica feels, she thinks. Look, this is really hard to say." "Just say it, Aaron." I wiped my hands on my apron, picking up the phone properly now. "She doesn't want you at the wedding." The words hit like physical blows. I sank onto the stool behind me, flour dust rising in small clouds. "What?" "She says it's about the photos, the aesthetic. You know how she is about image." His voice dropped to almost a whisper. "She said we can't have poor relatives in the photos. That it would throw off the whole vibe." Poor relatives. The words echoed in my head, each repetition sharper than the last. Me, who'd raised Aaron after our parents died. Me, who'd dropped out of college to keep us afloat. Me, who'd worked 3 jobs so he could finish his degree without debt. "Aaron," I managed, "are you really calling to uninvite me from your wedding because your fiancé thinks I'm too poor?" "It's not me," he protested. I told her this was crazy, but she's threatening to call the whole thing off. She says her family has a reputation to maintain. That having He paused, and I could hear him struggling. "A baker as a sister-in-law doesn't fit their narrative." "A baker," I repeated flatly. "That's what I am to her. Not the woman who taught you to tie your shoes. Not the person who held your hand through mom and dad's funeral. Lily, please understand dash." "No, Aaron. I understand perfectly." My voice was steady, but my hands shook. "Veronica Ashford thinks I'm not good enough for her precious wedding photos. And you're letting her. What am I supposed to do?" He sounded desperate now. "I love her. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Everything's paid for. You're supposed to stand up for your family," I said quietly. "But clearly, I'm not your family anymore. Just your poor relative." I hung up before he could respond, then sat in my quiet bakery kitchen, surrounded by the warmth of ovens and the comfort of rising dough. 5 years I'd been building this business, working 18-hour days, perfecting recipes, cultivating clients. I wasn't wealthy like the Ashfords, but I wasn't poor either. I was just ordinary. And apparently, that was the worst thing you could be in Veronica's world. The wedding invitation still sat on my refrigerator at home, elegant calligraphy on paper, so thick it could probably pay my utilities for a month. The Ashford-Chin wedding at Rosehaven Manor. The most exclusive venue in the state, where governors' daughters and old money princesses said their vows beneath crystal chandeliers worth more than houses. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about Rosehaven. I'd actually been there once, years ago, delivering a custom cake for another society wedding. I'd marveled at the gardens, the architecture, the sheer excessive beauty of it all. And I'd overheard something interesting from the staff. The owner was looking to sell, tired of dealing with bridezillas and their demanding mothers. A terrible, wonderful idea began to form. I called my accountant the next morning. "Helen, I need you to run some numbers for me. What's my liquid capital situation?" "Well, good morning to you too," Helen laughed. "What are you planning to buy now? Another oven? Please tell me you're not expanding again already." "Not expanding. Investing." I paused. "What do you know about Rosehaven Manor?" The silence on the other end stretched long. "The wedding venue? Lily, that's in a completely different league. We're talking millions." "How many millions?" "I'd have to check, but rumor is the owner wants 8 million. And that's just the purchase price. The maintenance, the staff." She trailed off. "What's this about?" I told her about the phone call, about Veronica's decree, about being too poor for family photos. Helen's language turned impressively colorful. "That absolute witch," she finally said. "After everything you've done for Aaron. Okay, let me make some calls. Don't do anything rash." But rash was exactly what I was feeling. Rash and hurt, and ready to prove that being a baker didn't make me less than anyone. Helen called back 2 hours later. "You're not going to believe this. The owner of Rosehaven is Margaret Chin. She's a client of my partner's. She's desperate to sell. The place is hemorrhaging money, and she's had 3 deals fall through. She might take 6 million. 6 million. I did quick calculations. The bakery was worth about 2 million. My savings, investments, the inheritance from our parents I'd never touched. I can do 4 million liquid if I liquidate everything. Lily, this is insane. You'd be risking everything you've built. Set up a meeting, I said. And Helen? See if she'd be interested in a partnership deal. I have an idea. The next 2 weeks were a blur of negotiations, lawyers, and sleepless nights. Margaret Chen turned out to be a sharp 70-year-old who'd inherited Rosehaven from her late husband and was sick of entitled brides treating her staff like servants. When I explained my vision, transforming Rosehaven from just a wedding venue into a full-scale events center with an on-site bakery and catering, her eyes lit up. "You're that baker," she said suddenly during our third meeting. "The one who made the hummingbird cake for the governor's daughter. My staff still talks about it." "That's me," I admitted. "And you want to buy my venue to spite your future sister-in-law?" She raised an elegant eyebrow. "I want to buy your venue because it's a good investment," I corrected. "The spite is just a bonus." She laughed, a rich, genuine sound. "I like you, Lilychin. Tell you what, 4 million for a 60% stake. I keep 40% and help you run it for the first year. Deal?" We shook on it. The papers were signed the day before Aaron's wedding. I spent that night in my new office at Rosehaven, looking out at the gardens where tomorrow my brother would marry a woman who thought I wasn't good enough to attend. The irony was delicious. She'd be saying her vows in my venue, dancing in my ballroom, cutting cake in my garden. The next morning, I prepared my wedding gift. Inside an elegant box, I placed the deed to Rosehaven Manor, now officially registered under my name. Beneath it, a single sheet of paper with the venue's new policies, effective immediately. Asterisk, Rosehaven Manor maintains an inclusive environment for all events. Any client demonstrating discriminatory behavior towards staff, vendors, or guests based on economic status, occupation, or other factors will have their contract terminated immediately. This includes, but is not limited to, excluding family members from events due to perceived social standing. Asterisk. And at the bottom, in my careful handwriting, asterisk, congratulations on your wedding. Enjoy your special day at my venue. Lily asterisk. I had the gift delivered during the reception. Later, I watched the footage from the security cameras, a perk of being the owner. Veronica opened gifts live, as was apparently traditional in her circle. She read the cards aloud, cooing over china patterns and silver services. Then she got to mine. "Oh, this one's from..." She paused, clearly surprised. "From Lily, Aaron's sister." Aaron's head snapped up from across the room. I saw him mouth, "What?" as Veronica opened the box. The color drained from her face as she read the deed. The room, full of society's finest, watched in confusion as she swayed on her feet. Then she found the policy notice, and I saw the exact moment she understood. I need," she stammered, then fainted dead away into her $10,000 dress. The reception erupted in chaos. Aaron rushed to his bride while guests whispered and speculated. Someone had the presence of mind to grab the papers Veronica had dropped, and within minutes, the news spread through the room like wildfire. The poor Baker sister owned their precious venue. My phone started ringing immediately. I let them all go to voicemail, savoring each one. Aaron panicked. "Lily, what did you do?" "Veronica's having a breakdown." "Call me." Veronica's mother, shrill. "This is extortion. We'll sue." Margaret Chen, delighted. "I'm watching from the security office. This is better than television. That horrible woman actually fainted." And finally, Aaron again later that night. "Lily, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Veronica wants to meet with you. She says she was wrong. Can we talk?" I texted back. "I'm afraid I'm too busy running my venue to meet. Perhaps your wife should have thought about that before deciding I was too poor for her photos. P.S. Your final invoice will reflect the new ownership rates. Congratulations on your marriage." The reviews started coming in the next week. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know about the baker who'd bought Rosehaven Manor. Food Network called. The Times wanted an interview. 3 celebrity weddings booked for the next year, drawn by the story of the woman who'd turned rejection into revenge and then into a business empire. Aaron came by the bakery a month later, alone. He looked tired, older somehow. "She's not speaking to me," he said without preamble. "Says I should have told her about the inheritance money. About how you saved every penny for me, for my future. She's humiliated that everyone knows she called you poor." And I kept working, not looking up from the fondant roses I was crafting. "And I'm sorry. God, Lily, I'm so sorry. I chose her over you. I let her say those things, think those things. I failed you. Now I looked up. My little brother, the boy I'd raised, looked genuinely broken. Yeah, I said simply. You did. Is there any way we can fix this? I considered him for a long moment. Maybe. Someday. But not while you're married to someone who measures people's worth by their bank accounts. She's not. She's really not that bad. She just grew up different. No, Aaron. She grew up rich. There's a difference between having money and having no class. I handed him a box of pastries, his favorites, the ones I'd made him for every birthday since he was 7. Give it time. And next time someone tells you to choose between family and image, remember that family is the one that matters. He left with tears in his eyes and a box of memories. I went back to my roses, crafting beauty from sugar and patience. 6 months later, the divorce papers made the society pages. Apparently, Veronica couldn't handle being married to the brother of that baker who humiliated her. She'd wanted the Rosehaven story buried, but it had become local legend. Every bride who booked the venue wanted to hear about the woman who'd bought it out of spite and turned it into the most sought-after location in 3 states. Aaron sent me a letter. You were right. Money doesn't buy class. Thank you for the lesson, even if it cost me everything to learn it. I love you, your formerly stupid brother. I framed that letter and hung it in my office at Rosehaven, right next to the photo from the governor's daughter's wedding, the one where my hummingbird cake took center stage. Margaret Chun, now my business partner and adopted grandmother, liked to tell every visitor the story. Never underestimate a baker, she'd say with a wink. We know how to make things rise, including ourselves. The bakery still runs every morning. I still test recipes, still cover myself in flour, still find joy in feeding people. But now I do it in the kitchen of the manor that was supposed to be too good for me. Every wedding cake that leaves my ovens is a reminder that worth isn't measured in money or surnames or the thickness of your invitation paper. It's measured in how you treat people when you think they have nothing to offer you. Veronica Ashford learned that lesson the hard way, fainting into her designer dress while holding proof that the poor relative she'd rejected could buy and sell her precious venue. And me? I learned that the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served at exactly the right temperature, like a perfect wedding cake, at the venue you now own. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.